Okay, so apparently the other day there was a huge Path of Exile 2 announcement, and this is the trailer for it. So let's watch.
We as Mary are guided by the Spirit. It provides prey, shelter, even love. But for me, one day...
What the hell is that?
We changed. The Spirit, it showed me something.
Witch Doctor. New class. Okay.
And to defend
Witch Doctor? Oh.
I used it. I lost everything that day. But fate weren't finished with me yet.
Interesting. Whole new story arc and stuff too?
I'll do what I must. No matter the cost.
The fact that these are rendered cutscenes are nuts, dude.
I will hear the Spirit once more.
Okay, here we go. Gameplay. Oof. Oh. What the fuck? She has a shield. Okay. That is a ranged melee. What the fuck? What does she do to the... Does she absorb the creature? Alright, backstep. She got a mount! Holy fuck. Are they bringing mounts into the game now? Oh! God damn. 25 new skills. Okay. Sick. Asmarine Wisps. Rogue Exiles. What's that dot that she put on him? 100 new support gems. 100 plus new uniques. New ascendancy classes. New endgame mechanics. Holy crap. This is the update. New maps. And much more. Get out of here. God damn. April 4th.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Rogers, Game Director on Path of Exile 2. Welcome to GGG Live. Well, it's been a little over 3 months since we launched Early Access, so it's about time for our first major content update. Today, we're going to show you an exclusive reveal of Path of Exile 2, Dawn of the Hunt, which launches on April 4th. Twitch drops are enabled on today's livestream, so make sure you follow the instructions below in order to claim your Executioner's Guillotine finisher effect. Now in today's stream, we're going to take you on a deep dive into the new Dawn of the Hunt.
New class, new ascendancies for existing classes, character system improvements, endgame improvements, new endgame content.
Hunt update. We'll cover a new class, 5 new ascendancy classes, and huge expansions on character systems like unique items and support gems. After that, it's on to the endgame improvements, including changes to systems, a bunch of new encounters, and lots of other content. We're going to finish up today with a live Q&A session where Ziggy D will ask Path of Exile 2's game directors, myself and Mark, your questions from Twitch chat. Now we have a lot to cover today, so let's get started with a trailer for Path of Exile 2, Dawn of the Hunt.
We as Mary
we saw
are
that already.
guided by the Spirit. It provides prey, shelter, even love.
So this is the class. Okay.
Now as you can see, in Dawn of the Hunt we're introducing the first new class since early access to POE2, the Huntress.
Huntress.
The Huntress is a spear-wielding Asmeri warrior. Born into a society with strict traditions, she was exiled from her homeland after using the power of a skill gem to defend her village.
Interesting.
As a dexterous spear user, she specializes in both melee and ranged combat, dashing
it's a
into
range.
and out of battle.
Wait, it's a melee
Spears have
range?
extended
Okay.
range and a short dash.
Damn, look at
but
her
unlike other melee
whirlpool.
weapons, you can also throw them. In order to make a hybrid ranged and melee character work, we had to do a lot of thinking about ways to make it fun to both enter and exit melee range. The first skill you will get as a Huntress is Whirling Slash. As well as striking in a circle around you, this skill creates a whirlwind that blinds your enemies. Leaving the whirlwind will make it explode. The more Whirling Slash is used, the bigger the whirlwind, and the bigger the explosion.
Okay.
Once you're out of there, you'll want to follow up with something ranged. Whip your spear around to shoot twisters towards your foes. These twisters bounce off walls and can hit enemies multiple times.
Is that her R ability? Yeah, it is.
You can also throw twisters inside a whirlwind to shoot out extra tornadoes that do way more damage.
So it's about popping in and out.
The Huntress will usually want to hold a buckler, which allows you to do a new skill, parry. While holding down parry, your character will counterattack any incoming attack from monsters near you.
I was wondering what the dot was. It's a fucking parry.
Stunning them. In addition, the monsters will take extra attack damage from your follow-up strike. Some specific skills are designed to be used after a parry and have extra effects. Disengage is a skill that does a quick jump back, damaging enemies in front of you, and it can be used to interrupt other actions, like dodge roll. If you use it against a parried enemy though, it causes an explosion and gives you a frenzy charge. Just be careful. If you parry too much, you're going to get stunned and possibly killed.
Oh, you can stun.
You can
What's the gauge? How many parries can
slash,
you do? Is there
parry,
like a
disengage, and you'll get an explosion from the disengage and the Whirling Slash. The Huntress also has a variety of elemental spear throw attacks. You could use Lightning Spear to bounce lightning between your foes. Or you could throw explosive spears into the ground. These spears take a while to detonate, but when they do, they'll incinerate anyone caught in the blast. All spear throws on the Huntress can also be empowered by frenzy charges. For example, explosive spears will do an even larger explosion and leave fire on the ground. And these empowered versions can activate even more combos. Using Whirling Slash over ground fire will suck it into the whirlwind, adding fire to the explosion.
Alright, combo heavy, dual
Using twisters inside a fire whirlwind will shoot out fire tornadoes as well.
Range and melee.
And lightning too.
With a parry is nuts.
Now a key aspect of hunting is exhausting your foes by causing blood loss. This skill is Rake, which dashes towards your target and unleashes a deadly slash, opening up wounds on your enemies.
Look at her other abilities though. She's got a poke, whatever this R ability does. Her right click is the set for the bleed. Her mouse wheel is the parry. Interesting.
Follow up with disengage and watch them bleed out as they run towards you. On the health bar of monsters, you can see how much blood loss the enemy has experienced, and the Huntress has skills to take advantage of this. For example, using Blood Hunt will thrust forward and cause a bloody explosion. The more blood loss, the bigger the explosion. If you want to cause bigger bleeds, try out Rapid Assault. The final hit of this multi-hit...
So that's how everything is being centered. It's set up to backstep for the range. It's melee first, and then backstep
combo
for the
will
range.
Stick a spear into your enemy for a big bleed. Now, Explosive Spear and Rapid Assault both result in leaving spears behind, either in the ground or in enemies. But there are other skills that leave spears around too, like Storm Lance, that leaves an electrical spear that arcs towards enemies. But what can you do with all these spears?
I like that.
Detonate them, of course. Thunderous Leap will allow you to jump onto and explode any spears, either in the ground or in your enemies.
What about her mount, though?
Now, as well as hunting animals, the Huntress also has the ability to work with them. While fighting any beast, you have the ability to tame it and use it as a companion. You can only have one companion at a time, but it will keep the mods that were on it. Try to find a rare beast with good mods to take full advantage of your ability to tame them.
Do they have a health pool? Can
now,
you
this is just the
them?
beginning of the Huntress. We've really tried to make the hybrid ranged and melee gameplay work for this class by having a huge amount of synergy between ranged and melee options.
Nice.
There are 22 new skills available for the Huntress.
By
endgame, you'll be slinging hundreds of insanely powerful spears, sending forth spirit animals, and summoning the might of Solaris from
I
the
can only
sky.
imagine the builds that they're going to make with this shit already.
But we still haven't talked about ascendancy classes yet. What can the Huntress ascend into?
Well, the first ascension class you could choose is the Ritualist. The Ritualist has embraced the darker side of his merry traditions by harnessing the power of animal sacrifice and plague.
Necromancer?
The Corrupted Life Force skill causes all enemies around you to grow volatile blood boils on their skin,
Ooh.
When those enemies are slain, the boils will burst, spreading corrupted blood to all enemies around them. The Ritualist also excels in taking advantage of magical trinkets. The Unfurled Finger skill allows you to equip an additional ring on a finger around your neck. Taking Mystic Attunement increases the bonuses of all the rings and amulets you have equipped.
A ring.
Now this is one of my
neck.
favorites. As the Whisper's Ask grants you a new skill.
I like the
Ritual
parry a
Sacrifice.
lot.
Use the skill on the corpses of slain rare monsters to absorb the power in their blood, to give you one of their modifiers for a short time.
Get the fuck out of here.
Specialize further into Ritualistic Sacrifice with As the Whisper's Demand, which allows you to perform that skill on yourself instead of a corpse. Cut your own hand, sacrificing some of your own blood to empower yourself.
Get out of here.
The Amazon Ascension is for those looking to hunt more than just beasts. Trained as an elite guard to the most important Asmeri elders, the Amazon will use more traditional fighting techniques mastered to perfection. The Predatory Instinct skill will cause you to reveal weaknesses in the defenses of rare and unique enemies, causing you to deal more damage. You can see those weak spots represented on their life bars.
Okay.
While using Elemental Infusion, any charges you consume will infuse your weapon with elemental power, causing any projectile attacks to explode on impact.
Crazy.
The Critical Strike skill is as simple as it sounds. It takes your excess accuracy and gives it to you as critical strike chance.
Whoa.
Additionally, you have skills like Mystic Harvest, which allows your elemental damage to leech life, and Asmeri Brew to be able to use either flask to restore both life and mana.
Whoa.
So those are the 2 new ascendancies for the Huntress. But those are not the only ascendancies in Dawn of the Hunt.
Okay.
We've added a new ascension class for 3 of the other existing classes too.
Who?
First up, for our warriors out there, we have the Smith of Katava. The warrior is a blacksmith in origin, taught by his father Renly. With this ascension, you can take your smithing skills to new heights by embracing power from the insatiable one himself.
That's
Kitava.
crazy.
Smiths of Katava are master blacksmiths and have the ability to forge their weapon, quite literally.
Forge
Using
their
the
weapon.
Against the Anvil notable skill, you can enhance your weapon with fiery destruction before any battle. After doing
Okay.
so, your attacks will release explosions on hit for maximum devastation.
That's cool.
You can
What the
also use the
fuck is
power
that?
of Kitava to summon an animated copy of your weapon to fight alongside you.
Oh, that's crazy.
A great blacksmith can do more than just forging their weapon, though. Their armor can be enhanced too. Now, you might think this ascendancy class tree looks a little abnormal, and
Yeah.
you're right. There's a lot of notable skills all disconnected at the bottom there. By taking this point here, which is free to assign, your character is unable to equip body armors with mods of any kind. So your body armor must be normal. Sounds like a downside, right? Except now in true blacksmith fashion, you get to craft your own body armor by taking those disconnected notables with your points.
What?
If you want your body armor to grant life, take this notable. If you want resistances, take this one. There's so many choices. Think of
Jesus
it like you're crafting your own
Christ.
body armor, just in a more literal sense.
Damn.
Now, let's move on to those who prefer the reassuring feel of a crossbow in their hands, the Mercenary. Alongside the existing Ascension classes, the Gemling Legionnaire and the Witch Hunter, you can now play as the Tactician.
Tactician.
The Tactician is a former Blackguard elite. Free from the duties of a Blackguard, he is able to use his training to decimate the monsters of Rayclast and earn a healthy income doing so.
This shit is fucking
This
broken,
training comes
bro.
in the form of various skills like suppressing fire, which causes all projectiles to
Slow?
pin enemies.
Oh, to
When
pin 'em.
combined with the right where we want them notable, your pin not only stops your enemies from moving, but stops them from performing actions too.
Oh,
Somewhat like
god
a freeze.
damn.
With a soldier's training, the Tactician also works well cooperatively.
Yeah,
Using
he
the
looks like it,
whoever
yeah.
pays best notable, you can place multiple banners at once. The Watch How We Do It skill gives a portion of your weapon's damage to your allies as well.
Okay,
But if that
support.
isn't enough, you can also command your army of off-screen archers to unleash hell and carpet an entire
Off-screen
area with
archers. You
arrows.
hear that?
Finally, Witch players will be able to join their legions by becoming undead themselves.
What?
In Dawn of the Hunt, we're introducing the Lich Ascension class.
Lich.
The Lich is
What?
a master of chaos and curses and could sacrifice her life
Cool.
to enhance her energy shield. The
Okay.
Crystalline Phylactery skill allows you to nominate a jewel in which to contain part of your soul, massively increasing its power. There's just one downside to splitting your soul this way, though. If you have no energy shield, your mana costs will shoot up.
Damn.
The Necromantic Conduit skill causes you and allies in your presence to have unholy might, granting extra
Dope.
damage as chaos damage.
Oh, I don't know how I feel
Rupture
about
the
this.
Soul makes enemies you curse explode with chaos damage when slain.
You'd have to manage a lot more now. You'll have to manage on top of the shield duration. You'll have to manage increased mana duration if you lose it, and then trying to get back to it. Fuck all the other minions that you have. It's like
Dominion over Flesh allows you to apply an additional curse.
a lot of curses though, which is good, right?
It's safe to say you'll be the true master of the occult by choosing the Lich class.
So Dawn of the Hunt has the Huntress and 5 new Ascension classes, but it doesn't end there. Let's take a look at some of the new skills we've added.
Now you may remember we've previously talked about the Raised Spectre skill. It's finally complete and it will be made available in the upcoming expansion. It can be found in the occult skills on the skill gem crafting panel.
Engraved.
Raised Spectre is a skill that allows you to trap the soul of almost any monster in the game,
Okay.
which you can then summon in the skill panel.
Yeah.
Spectres cost spirit and will revive automatically if they die, but the spirit cost
sick.
varies based on the power of the monster. You could summon an army of weaker monsters, or a few of the more powerful monsters.
God damn!
You can combine them with your existing skeleton minions, or summon exclusively spectres. It's all up to you and how you want to customize your army of the undead.
But you gotta go out there and go farm
Given
them
that there are
though.
hundreds upon hundreds of monster variants in Path of Exile 2, it's safe to say you'll be experimenting with this one for a while.
Yeah,
We
that's
look forward to
cool,
seeing which
man.
monsters serve you best.
That's cool, man.
Now let's move on to our next skill. Since we've been talking about summoning undead so much, let's have a change of pace and summon something a little more alive. In Dawn of the Hunt, we're adding the Summon Rower skill. Summon your friendly rower to aid you in combat as a minion.
Oh, okay. Everyone
You
gets
can
a
also
mount
mount
now.
your rower in combat at any time, allowing you to move at full speed even while shooting arrows or throwing spears.
Cool. They added mounts. Everyone gets
Be
a
wary,
mount.
though.
Nice.
If you take too much damage while riding your mount, you can be knocked off and get overwhelmed.
Is there a
It's
stun?
worth keeping an eye on your stagger bar, as falling off the mount can mean almost certain death.
Yeah, it's a
On
stun.
the topic of new ways to enhance your character, let's talk about support gems. Support gems are used to modify your skill gems in meaningful and interesting
Yeah.
ways. Currently, we feel that a lot of builds have insufficient options here. To alleviate this, we're adding over
Insufficient
100 new support
options?
gems.
Insufficient options. What?
Hema crystals will enable a new kind of bleed build, turning the damage over time you would have done into explosive Vile crystals. Alignment is a support gem for bow attacks, which can reward skilled players with good positional skills. Caltrops will allow you to litter the battlefield with hazards, slowing your foes as you fling spears through their ranks. But there's plenty more for every playstyle, such as Enormity, Unsteady Tempo, Profanity,
Vanity.
Retaliate,
Diablo. What the fuck?
Syzygy. Yep, that's a real word. And many more.
Now we've talked about a
My
new class,
God.
new ascendancy classes, new skills, and new support gems. But let's not forget about the core of a true action RPG, the items.
To start with, let's talk about uniques. We're adding over 100 new unique items.
Jesus Christ.
This time, we've made sure to add uniques with a focus on mid and endgame tiers to make sure there are more exciting items to find for higher level characters. Let's look at some examples. Embrace your inner devil with Chernobog's Pillar. It grants you a large amount of fire damage based on your block chance. The Coming Calamity allows you to become a true master of the elements, granting you all 3 elemental herald skills without
Yeah,
costing
bro.
any spirit. At the same time, it penalizes enemy resistances. Wastegate is a belt useful for builds using a single resource like Blood Magic or Archmage builds.
My
With this
God.
belt, you can use 2 life flasks or 2 mana flasks. It's up to you. Now, we could go through these all day, but we'll leave most of them for you to discover.
My God.
Suffice to say, though, we want there to be way more cool things to find.
Jesus.
Over time, our goal is to add a unique to every single base item type at a minimum, so that you can chance any base in the game.
Huh.
Now, given that we have the Huntress, we have a set of unique spears from early game all the way through the end game as well. One example is Cypher's Spear, which
Fire
combines
damage?
bleed and fire in a powerful way. It allows your ignites to be aggravated, dealing substantially more damage. We're also introducing a suite of unique bucklers with some interesting parry mechanics. Calgyra's Arc, for example, allows you to parry projectiles from any distance. And
That's
we're also
good.
adding our first unique charms. Bayra's Anguish will not only protect you from ignite, but will also emit a devastating fire nova whenever you do get ignited.
In sum, there's just a ton of new uniques to find. We can't wait to see the weird and broken builds that come out of it.
Now we also want to talk about crafting options. In each major update during early access, we'll be continuing to add and improve the options here. We have various new crafting tools that have been added as rewards to many of the different types of new content that we're adding. But for now, I just want to mention the changes to runes. Runes add commonly available mods, but since they only have one tier, flat damage mods tend to get outclassed by in-game. So we've changed runes to have multiple tiers, allowing you to get higher tier mods than before.
Our plan is to significantly expand the number of more specialized mods for crafting using socketables as we add new content over time. And the first new set of those comes from what we're talking about next.
In Dawn of the Hunt, we're adding Asmarian Wisps, which can be found throughout both the campaign and the endgame.
Asmarian Wisps? Those things on top of her?
The Asmari spirit has made itself present in Rayclast, and it appears to be trying to warn, or maybe prepare us for the coming darkness. You will first encounter a manifestation of it in the Grellwood in Act 1, where you'll meet Delwyn, an Asmari hunter who is trying to find out what exactly is causing the spirit to behave this way. As you approach the wisp, it will flee, leading you past monsters. Any monsters it comes into contact with are infused by it, making them more powerful. Each spirit is associated with a specific revered animal within Asmari culture. This one is a wisp of the Great Bear, and grants enemies extra life and stun.
Alright, so what do you do?
The wisp moves faster the closer you are, and as you move away, they slow down to wait for you. But if you get too far away for too long, they'll dissipate and return to the woods. As you continue to chase the wisp, it will find and possess a rare or unique monster, granting it a new powerful ability. Because this was a wisp of the Great Bear, this monster now also has increased life and stun. But on top of that, it will periodically summon a large spectral bear that slams with wild fury.
Damn, so I just randomly
If you're able to defeat this foe, you will be rewarded. For each monster that was infused and killed along the way, the rewards will be increased. Each wisp has its own mechanics. The Wisp of the Winter Owl is a primal wisp that causes enemies to deal extra cold damage, gain energy shield, and release wind vortices on death. When infusing a monster, they will call down large tornadoes to protect their host. The Wisp of the Wild Cat is a vivid wisp that causes affected monsters to deal more critical strikes and become more evasive. When it infuses a monster, it will summon a barrage of feline spirits that will attempt to tear you limb from limb.
Yo, that's crazy.
If you're lucky, you may even find sacred wisps that can do some pretty crazy things.
Alright, I'm really happy that they've... It's hard for me to explain it, but the fact that they're scaling what enemies are doing to match what crazy shit that you could do
to the monsters they influence. Like the Wisp of the Cunning Fox, which turns normal monsters into magics, magic monsters into rares, and rare monsters into actual bosses.
Oh my god.
Asmarian Wisps can drop a new set of socketable items that allow you to craft a wide range of interesting new mods onto your items. Each one may only be used on a specific item slot. As mentioned, the Asmarian Wisps can be encountered throughout the game, but there's also a new endgame map called the Asmari Ranges, a mountain village where the Asmari once lived, now overrun with corrupt monsters. This map always has multiple Asmarian Wisps in it, and familiar, yet not quite the same boss fight. Asmarian Wisps can also be further modified by the endgame Atlas tree as well, and by tablets.
Jesus Christ, there's so many systems
But I'm not going to be the one talking about those things. In order to cover all the new content in in-game, I'm going to hand things over to Mark.
Hi, I'm Mark Roberts.
Hi, Mark.
Game Director on Path of Exile 2.
Hi.
There's a ton to talk about with the endgame today, so let's dig right in. Path of Exile 2's early access began with a brand new endgame, and it was clear that it needed a lot of work. After absorbing your feedback, we're ready to make some epic changes. The first thing is, we just need a lot more content.
What?
In Dawn of the Hunt, we have made sure to focus on increasing the sheer number of interesting and different encounters you will randomly stumble into as you explore the endgame.
Oh, that's
And the
cool.
second goal is to smoothen the progression through maps.
The game is
and reduce the amount of annoying busy
they're
work.
doing this. It's crazy.
To start with, let's talk about the new interesting stuff to find. Well, the most obvious thing to add are new maps.
Yeah.
As well as the Asmari Ranges that Jonathan mentioned earlier, Dawn of the Hunt also contains 7 other new maps, all with their own custom encounters.
Holy crap.
Let's start with this one, The Feral Megaliths map starts off in the wild Ezomite forests. As you progress through the forest, you will find mysterious rune-carved stones that, when touched, surge with energy.
Yeah.
After activating all the stones, you can find a grand henge, where all the energy is coalescing. You can then start an encounter. The area darkens, a storm moves in, and a concentration of energy summons a dangerous boss. You must fight and defeat the boss to get its rewards.
Duh.
Once you have defeated it, summon another. And another. And
You can
another.
farm this?
And another. You have 10 total waves of boss fights which get incrementally more difficult.
Oh.
If you manage to defeat them, you get full boss rewards, but also opportunities to get new runes. These can only be obtained from this map. The Fractured Lake contains a surreal waterscape with fractured mirror-like objects. As you move around the map, the terrain itself elevates from below, creating the ground you walk on.
Oh wow, that's
In
crazy.
this unique
That's
map,
dope.
all the rare monsters are mirrored, so you're always fighting two of the same rare at the same time, which can prove quite difficult.
Two of the
If you
same
manage
rare
to
at the
overcome
same
that
time.
challenge and make it to the end of the map, you'll be presented with a broken mirror, a powerful altar-like object that contains an item within it. The item contained within is a new base type, either an amulet or a ring, that can be crafted to have additional prefixes or suffixes at the cost of the other. The last unique map we'll show today is one based around the essence
Oh
mechanic.
my
You
god.
enter a crystalline cavern, and you will find a powerful map boss imprisoned in the center. It is surrounded by many rare monsters, also imprisoned in essences. By freeing and defeating the rare monsters, the essence they held will be upgraded to a greater essence, and be added to the imprisoned map boss. How brave are you? How many essences will you add to the boss? Overdo it, and you might lose everything. Underdo it, and you might regret it. It's your choice.
That's cool.
Speaking of essences,
That's cool. So
alongside
you're working your way to creating that end boss. That's dope.
improvements, you're now able to apply Varlorbs to corrupt the essences with a range of unpredictable outcomes. It could increase the number of essences, re-roll all the essences to the same type,
Oh,
or even
fuck.
upgrade the essences to greater essences.
I don't like that.
What if they're already greater essences? Well, it can upgrade those too. We have 4 new corrupted essences. Essence of Hysteria, Delirium, Horror, and Insanity.
My god.
Each corrupted essence has
It sounded like they add one.
its own interesting
They
combat
keep adding
mechanics.
so much.
For example,
How do they scale
the
everything?
Essence of Insanity causes you to question even your own mind, as monsters split into shadowy clones, and you must locate the real one before a devastating icy explosion freezes everything around it.
Damn.
Each of these has their own crafting outcomes. The Essence of Insanity can be applied to a belt. It adds a mod that will ensure the next Varlorb used on the belt will guarantee adding 2 enchantments. It's worth noting all the essences in the unique map can also be corrupted too, if you're willing to risk it. It's worth noting we have also added 10 extra Atlas passive points you can earn by completing 5 different unique maps. Now, new maps are just the beginning. We had a goal where we wanted to make sure you were constantly finding exciting new content, and that it could be lurking around any corner. So, we have added a bunch of new things that you could stumble into in any map you run. On your travels, you will sometimes encounter rogue exiles. Others like you who have been exiled and are openly hostile.
Get
Some are malicious, some are mad, while others are simply fiends for loot. They will challenge you, a fight to the death. They use the same skills available
They're an
to
invader
players,
almost.
and even the same items. They
Bro,
aren't
they
just dressed
really-
up in those items, they're actually using them.
They're
It's
re-
going to feel like a true player versus player situation.
God, this really is like a Souls RPG.
Of course, if
It's
you are
a
able to
fucking
slay these
invader.
exiles, those items will all drop on the ground. So if you encounter an exile using a powerful or valuable unique item, which you can see displayed under their life bar, you want to be damn sure you kill them. Because if they kill you and your party, they'll portal out, taking their items with them. Every fight will
They're
feel
an invader.
completely different
Wow.
depending on the items they come equipped with. These exiles are much smarter than your regular monster. They have capabilities to dodge roll, avoid your abilities with smart pathfinding, smart targeting, and much more action-packed gameplay. Fortunately, they're like you and they're not super durable. Unless, of course, they're wearing uniques like Helm's Heart.
They're
in
like
which case,
you and not
expect
super
a longer
durable.
battle. There are 12 different rogue exiles you can find, each with their own skills and personalities. Some may insult you, while others may admire your honor in combat. Another encounter you might stumble onto in Dawn of the Hunt are one of 4 new unique strongboxes. Strongboxes are chests with modifiers. When you try to open them, they activate traps and spawn waves of monsters that you must defeat to access the loot.
Oh,
Let's
shit.
take a look at 2 of the new unique boxes that are harder to find and behave just a little bit differently. The Ogham's Legacy Strongbox has a corpse splayed out in front of the rune-carved stone. Upon interacting with the stone, you activate Forbidden Ezomite magic, which revives the monster as a powerful rare. The Strongbox comes with a modifier which determines how many times it will revive that rare. Each time you defeat the monstrosity, the Strongbox revives it again, adding an extra modifier to the monster.
Diablo.
With each resurrection, it becomes more difficult, but also
Yo, and the
more
res
rewarding.
time is crazy.
This Strongbox is infused with Thaumaturgy from Ancient File technology.
31 packs
Eshel's
of
Torment
monsters.
has a powerful artifact inside, and is guarded by Chaos itself. Defeating the monsters will grant you a unique item, with a specific corrupted outcome. You'll have to find the other 2 for yourself to see what they do.
Yo, that is
Now,
crazy.
let's talk about the introduction to the endgame. Upon starting the endgame, Doriani tasks you with cleansing corruption to help restore the land. However, in practice, the quest objective just sent you on a grind to clear 15 maps. We wanted to make the quest to unlock your Atlas passives much more interesting. Now, Doriani is tasking you with a more specific objective. On the Atlas, you will find areas of corruption caused by the beast. In the center of each one, you will find a corrupted nexus, the source of the affliction. In the areas leading up to the nexus, you will notice that corruption spills out from slain enemies and amalgamates into powerful monsters.
And
Corrupted
amalgamates.
maps existed on the Atlas before, but we've done significant work on improving these monsters. We've also done a full pass on the modifiers on these maps to make them more interesting and more rewarding. Once you reach the nexus, you will have a new task: cleanse the source of corruption. When you defeat the last rare in those maps, they will spawn one of 3 terrifying bosses, amalgamations of corruption itself. After defeating that boss, Doriani will come and cleanse the corruption for good. As the remains of the boss are purged of corruption, it coalesces into raw crystallized power, which you can use to gain points for your Atlas passive skill tree. The upgrade system that allows you to add and enhance content in your maps.
It takes 4 fucking
We
boxes.
didn't stop there though. When you complete a corrupted nexus, all of the remaining surrounding corrupted maps will become cleansed maps. Cleansed maps also have new monsters, a new boss,
The cleanse map changes.
and their own set of modifiers and rewards, including finding fracturing orbs by slaying cleansed enemies. These orbs can be used in crafting on a rare item to cause one of its modifiers to become fractured. A fractured modifier is one that cannot be modified by any means. You are able to freely modify the item, ensuring the fractured modifier will never change. If you get
So that's where it becomes a little more difficult. I feel like when you're taking a modifier and then you're putting an additional modifier that locks that modifier, so that way you're in more control of the role. I feel like that in itself is an issue, because then you're like doubling up on the material to get the actual role that you want.
the right item with the right mod,
It's less about
it can
like
prove to be a very powerful crafting base indeed. You must now choose. Do you complete all the corrupted maps and then the Nexus? Or maybe you beeline to the Nexus, complete it, and do all the remaining maps cleansed. Both have rewards to entice you and challenges to assess. Now, let's have a talk about towers. One thing we've had a lot of feedback on is the busy work around running towers and managing your tablets. The first change we've made here is that we have reduced the number of towers drastically, so there are now 1/3 as many as before, but we've made them much more powerful. To start with, tablets now inherently add twice as many mechanics. But that's not all.
Damn.
Running higher tier maps and towers now increases the number of mechanics applied by tablets. By tier 15, the bonus is double, allowing a single tablet to now add 4 times as many mechanics as before. So, we're running far fewer towers, dealing with fewer tablets, and affecting even more maps than before. But because there are fewer towers overlapping with each other, you won't get as many opportunities to stack different tablets. In order to solve this, we've made it so that each tower can consume up to 3 tablets at once. You always get 1 slot on completing the tower, but if you can complete a tower with more mods on the waystone, you can unlock a 2nd or 3rd slot. Overall, this allows for even more juicing from towers, while drastically reducing the amount of busy work you have to do. On top of that, towers are much more interesting maps because they can now spawn with all mechanics, including bosses. Each tower map has a
But why make it easier if you were just gonna add less towers for the tablet?
new boss. Let's take a look at a couple here. The boss fight of the Alpine
People
Ridge
were
map
complaining
has
about
2
that anyway,
powerful
so-
witches contesting for territory. One witch has an affinity for ice, the other fire. Who will win? Hopefully neither. The boss of the Sinking Spire map is a remnant of the Val that has been charged with lightning. It uses a full suite of lightning abilities. But be careful, if any of them hit the surrounding constructs, they will power up. Another thing that we've seen a lot of feedback about is sustaining waystones. As we looked into it, we realized that the people who couldn't sustain waystones were dying a lot. A lot more than we had expected. And that made us realize something. During the campaign, the expectation is that you can die multiple times in order to learn how to overcome challenges. You are able to learn how the monsters behave, adapt to their skills, and eventually overcome them. But as soon as you get to the end game, you're effectively no longer allowed to die if you want to sustain waystones. By the time you are getting towards the end of endgame, we want you to have to be careful not to die. But it certainly shouldn't be that we have such a sudden shift as you run your first maps.
Diablo.
The first change we're making is you can now respawn and return to a map if you die. Continue
What?
as you run your first maps. The first change we're making is you can now respawn and return to a map if you die.
That's crazy.
Continuing from where you left off.
That's crazy.
When you start the endgame, you get up to 6 total attempts per map. As you add more modifiers to a waystone, the number of respawns goes down. This means that as you get to the point that you're running every waystone as a rare, you will have to be more careful.
Okay.
In parties, everyone gets to respawn that number of times. But we still think it's important that you can kill a boss in one go. In order to allow that to happen, we've made a change so that once you start the boss fight, it changes over to the same respawning system we use for pinnacle bosses. This means that the map owner can choose to respawn everyone at the same time. Another complaint we've seen a lot of is players not wanting to do the pinnacle content because of the experience penalty from dying. A change we've made here is that all pinnacle content now no longer grants experience, but also no longer removes experience on death either.
Oh, shit.
Dawn of the Hunt also brings the first batch of Twilight Order reliquary keys from the early access supporter packs. These keys contain items selected by our supporters. They can contain any unique item found in Path of Exile 2. If the selected item is a pinnacle boss drop, then only special keys dropped by this content will be able to provide these items. For example, Hand of Wisdom in action can only come from a key dropped by Zesht. We're also making a change that allows pinnacle boss uniques to drop at any difficulty. Rarer uniques will be rarer at lower difficulties, but still possible to find. This applies to the drop chances for the reliquary keys from this content as well.
Diablo.
We spoke about towers and tablets earlier, but we have also added a suite of unique tablets. Each of these adds crazy interactions to the maps influenced by it. For example, this unique tablet allows you to run any map in a tower's radius without requiring connections, which can be quite useful for jumping gaps and traveling around your atlas. And this tablet causes all runic monsters spawned during expedition encounters to be duplicated, and weakens all expedition monsters that emerge from the ground. The Atlas tree has also been expanded, and you can find many of the new mechanics there, and improvements to existing ones too. Now, through this live stream, we have mentioned quite a few new crafting options that we've added.
They did this in a couple
new
fucking
runes,
months.
corrupted essences, fractured mods, and jewelry crafting bases. But we did have just one more crafting system to talk about: recombination. Expedition was the only in-game mechanic that was lacking a crafting system, so that needed to change. Recombination is a mechanic that might be familiar to some players. It allows you to merge two items together, hoping to get the best elements of each on a single new item. This new crafting bench will be unlocked as you complete your first expedition.
Oh, that's
and requires
cool.
artifacts found during expeditions to fuel it. The rarer the mods on the item you are combining, the more expensive the cost. That wraps up all the
Rightfully
major
so.
in-game changes we're talking about today. With all the system changes and new content, we can't
Fucking
wait to get
50
in there,
minutes.
start blasting maps, and obliterate
50 minutes of just craziness. What do you mean?
monsters. There is one more thing we wanted to clarify before we move on, which is that all the content we've talked about today will be made available in the existing early access leagues, so you can play your existing characters.
Nice.
However, there will be new leagues made for those who wish to start in a fresh economy. It is recommended to start over and get the full new experience in the Dawn of the Hunt leagues.
I mean, I would probably do that too.
For all our existing early access players, we're really looking forward to joining you playing in this new update.
Sick.
For those who don't already have access and are interested in playing Path of Exile 2, Dawn of the Hunt, you are able to at any time purchase an early access.
All right. Thoughts so far? They added a bunch of shit. I know that's my simple to say, but they added a bunch of shit. A lot of the over access modifiers that it's just fucking nuts. And then a new class completely with an ascendancy. Jesus, man. 2 ascendancies at that. Let me know what you guys think about this. I'm curious to see what everyone else in the community is saying about this update. If it isn't anything less than fucking crazy, I don't know, man.